Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Wonder Woman issue 17, written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Hayden Sherman, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Becca Carey. The Suicide Squad set their sights on Wonder Woman this issue as Zatanna traps Diana in her spell, telling Giganta to secure the perimeter, but the yellow villain doesn't like taking orders, so Zatanna uses her magic to force Zul to do her bidding. Despite not having her magic, Diana is still able to move, going in to punch Zatanna, but again, the villain's magic manages to freeze her in place before she can hit her, causing Zatanna to tell her not to worry. Zatanna begins a long spell, calling forth her magic to free her from the parasite. She begins choking as the magic literally rips the Starro parasite that Veronica Kale was using to keep the Task Force X people in line out of her throat. She crushes it in her hand, thanking Diana for letting her borrow her magic, but now Diana is only interested in taking Zatanna down, now knowing who the mysterious witch is. Zatanna isn't concerned since now she is completely free from Kale and can do whatever she wants. It's great to see even in the Absolute Universe, the Suicide Squad goes off the rails almost immediately and the team goes rogue against their handlers. Seems to always happen with that team, and I love that being almost a universal constant. While Zatanna is freed from Kale's influence, she isn't free from Kale's surveillance, which shows Kale that Zatanna is somehow controlling Wonder Woman and using her magic to remove the parasite. Zatanna teleports away and Kale knows that she has gone rogue since they can't control her now, and it will have to be him who does her dirty work. Him in this situation being someone we have yet to meet. Despite Kale's people warning her that this being is stronger than even Zatanna and they cannot control him, as a parasite cannot be used on him, Kale demands they prep their next weapon, threatening Alberts with a deadly firing should he disobey her orders again. With Zatanna now gone, Wonder Woman's magic and power begins flooding back into her body and she is freed from the spell holding her, letting her confront Dr. Poison, Cheetah, and Giganta. Diana doesn't intend on fighting them though. Instead, she retrieves a small orb from her bag of holding, whispering a spell into it of no harm and tossing the orb at Dr. Poison. The villain is trapped in the orb that grows around her, and picking up the magical orb, Wonder Woman tosses it out of the museum and into space, dealing with Dr. Poison once and for all. I love how Diana is going about dealing with the squad. She's following her own rules and trying to de-escalate the situation, not trying to cause any more damage and destruction that's already been caused, and tossing Dr. Poison into literal space is a good way to do that, and also a good way to take her out of the equation of the incident, while also meaning that she can come back at a later date, which I imagine she will, whether, Kale ends up going to get her from space somehow, or maybe even Diana brings her back down and warns her not to do evil again. While Diana wants to handle this peacefully, Giganta has other ideas, stomping all over Diana as Cheetah and Ara, the Fishman Queen, rush her, trying to hold Diana down for Giganta to pummel. Before the villain can give Diana a workover, Pegasus arrives, blasting flames at the villains and causing them all to scatter, specifically Ara, who is afraid of fire. The fire only seems to make Giganta even more enraged and she pummels Diana into the ground harder, putting on the giant act a bit too much as she plans on grinding Diana's bones to make her bread, one of the famous lines said by the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. Diana is knocked out by the villain and Giganta thinks she's finally won against the woman she was told was some big deal, but doesn't really seem like it. Giganta grabs Diana and storms outside, screaming to the fleeing people that this is the princess they worship as she shows them Diana's limp body. Diana though wasn't knocked out and was just playing possum in order to get close to Giganta, grabbing a tuft of the giant's hair and imbuing it with a potion, causing herself to grow even bigger than Giganta, deciding it's time to hit back. I'm digging the straightforwardness of this issue since, so far it's just Diana getting into a big battle with the Suicide Squad and she's taking them out with her magic. We haven't had any flashbacks or quiet moments as of yet. It's just been action since page 1, which is very unusual for this book since there's definitely issues where it takes things a bit quieter, which is great. I love those issues where we just kind of sit back and just let the story unfold about what Diana's past was like and how it relates to what she's currently doing in the present. It's been really great seeing that sort of stuff, but I also like we're kind of breaking that up now with a action-heavy issue. Diana smashes Giganta in the face as below, Etta, Steve, and Barbara Ann try and get the people to safety. Diana asks Etta where Gia is, learning that she went back to her shop, the candy shop, in order to get something that she and Diana had been working on and could be of use for them. Diana is glad that her friends are helping, but she needs them out of the area alongside the people, since they are targets for the Suicide Squad as well. Barbara wants to know why these people are trying to hurt Diana, but she doesn't know either, only that they need to get to safety. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I really love Diana's little team of support she has here in the Absolute Universe. It makes the book feel much more alive, and this time round, Etta, Barbara Ann, and even Steve feel so much more interesting as characters. They feel like three-dimensional characters, not just set dressing that certain writers want to use because, they're part of the Wonder Woman lore. Here, Kelly Thompson is actually using them very well and actually playing to their strengths as characters. Before Diana can help them escape, Giganta smashes her on the back of the head, grown even bigger now than Wonder Woman. Diana is able to keep Giganta busy long enough for Barbara to escape, making Giganta follow her through the buildings and into the already evacuated part of the city. Giganta continues to grow even bigger, so big she can no longer fit down the alleyways of the city, where Diana hides out, crafting another spell. As Giganta reaches for her, Diana snatches another tuft of her hair, calling for the spell to match Giganta's size. Diana herself grows even bigger, punching Giganta high into the sky, but the villain's powers continue to grow, resulting in her matching Diana again, leading to the two women growing to Godzilla proportions, something that I'm sure set off someone's fetish who was reading this book. It's great that we get to do stuff like this with the Absolute Wonder Woman, where she can finally have a bit more fantasy back with the character and interesting threats like this, and the way Thompson gives people what they want, big literal action set pieces while weaving in the code of honor she's written for Diana is so satisfying. It's really fun to see this sort of stuff come to fruition after so many issues of diving into the character. Now we get to see that sort of character arc stuff in action. Diana knows that at this size the damage would be unacceptable, deciding to change battlefields quickly. Diana uppercuts Giganta, blasting her away and out of the city and over to Gateway City's Island Parkway. She tries to put Giganta to sleep by choking her out, and after a moment, Zul eventually falls unconscious as Diana tells her that no harm will come to her that day, as is Wonder Woman's promise. Elsewhere in the city, Cheetah and Ara are approached by a flaming being. Ara quickly escapes, wanting no part in what's about to happen as the being approaches Cheetah, revealing to us that this is actually Priscilla Rich's Cheetah, the one who's kind of like the original Cheetah before Barbara Ann, the one who fought Hippolyta during World War II, that era of Cheetah. Unfortunately, Priscilla does not last long as the fiery skeleton being stabs her with a flaming knife, telling the dying woman that while this will release her from everything, it means she has to die for it to happen. Diana, meanwhile, can hear the panic and fear throughout the city, deciding that she needs to end this before the city's reaction becomes a problem. Leaving Giganta to sleep with a sleeping potion, Diana heads back into the city, where she finds the dead Cheetah. She finds the blood around her is tinged with a magic, finding that it's the work of blood magic, and the nearby Giovanni Zatanna, Zatanna's father, and the villain known as the Eternal Flame reveals that it is his blood magic, and it's powerful enough to deal with Wonder Woman. Giovanni utters a spell, and in an instant, Diana's magical arm is reduced to molten lava, leaving her at the mercy of the Eternal Flame. I love this reveal of what has become of Giovanni Zatanna in this universe. Usually in stories, he's, dead, or, he's a spirit or something that Zatanna can contact sometimes. Usually when we pick up with Zatanna, he is long dead or, very close to have been killed at some point. And I like what Thompson has kind of split the difference here, where he seems to have died, or, he's a ghost or a spirit or a demon or something, and he's become something more, and he's become a threat to this world and is being used in the Suicide Squad. And it's probably something being used as sort of to make Zatanna do what she is told, is kind of like that extra layer with Kale, where she had the parasite, and she's also got hold of Giovanni and is kind of using him in order to get Zatanna to do what she needs her to do. I love Giovanni's new look as well. It's great look from Hayden Sherman. I love the flames create the visage of his human form, and while he's technically like a big skeleton man, like when the flames pass over his face, you can see his human face. Like I said before, it's Wonder Woman being more fantastical here, and it's great. It also has her directly dealing with more magical threats, which is cool, which feels like it's been a while since she's done that. I'm not overly familiar with what Tom King is doing with Wonder Woman in the main universe, but that book always felt to me like it was relying a bit more on like real world stuff and being a bit more grounded, whereas this one feels much more fantastical, which is what Wonder Woman should feel like. It should feel like a magical adventure through this weird world, and I think Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman actually get that, and I feel like they make every issue feel like that. It just feels right. Absolute Wonder Woman issue 17 was another fantastic issue, one that was a bit more action than the character development we've been getting in the last couple of issues before this, something that I really appreciate. And I love a book that just allows it to have a little bit of action every now and then, and the action in this was fantastic. I love a Wonder Woman who is a bit more of a magical adventurer, and this Wonder Woman is, especially compared to her main universe counterpart right now, who's dealing with more grounded, realistic stuff and more multiversal futures stuff. There's some really weird stuff going on over in that main continuity book, but this is everything I like about Wonder Woman. This has got heart, it's got hope, it's got a really fantastic bunch of action, especially with Giganta. I really liked the take on Giganta we got to see here. I'm intrigued to see what the Eternal Flame or Giovanni Zatanna is up to and what his role in the Suicide Squad is. It's very far and few between the stories with Zatanna still being alive when Zatanna is around, and usually he's, long dead, or, something has happened to him. I'm intrigued to see what Kelly Thompson has in store for us for him. I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Zatanna as well. She wasn't really in this issue all a lot, but I'm sure she's going to be coming back in the next couple of issues, and we're going to dive into her story, so I can't wait for that. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.